Hello, I'd like to introduce everybody to Glenda. Glenda is part of our Synapse group. Um, Glenda, would you like to tell me a little bit about yourself and how you've been asked to do this chat?
Hi, I'm Glenda, and I've been married for 12 years now, and my husband David had a brain injury back before I met him. In year 12, he had a car accident. So pretty much ever since we've been seeing with each other and all through the marriage, I've had to learn to overcome different challenges and things. He's quite independent with a lot of the physical stuff now, but things like decision making and emotion regulation, balance, there's just a few things that he struggles with.
Yep.
And yeah, I became part of this carer group because I actually have a mental illness, and my husband has been involved in carer groups for me too. So I thought it might be good to connect with other people who have care for someone with a brain injury and see what their stories are like.
Oh, thanks for that, Glenda. What we're talking about today is how does a carer find time or organise time for themselves? So I've just got a quick couple of questions for you.
Sure.
How do you approach finding and making time for regular respite or any respite?
It is a constant challenge. We have 10-year-old twins, so it certainly is always very busy in our household. Probably the best way for both of us is we both work 3 days a week, so we can have some downtime when the kids are in school and we're home for that couple of days. It's probably the most regular respite we get. I tend to have, a slower day, get things done around the house and not as full on as work. And probably each school holidays, we just try and go away for at least half a week, just a weekend, or even half a week just to, just have a change of scenery and have that mental break from the home routine. Hubby goes to a games night once a week, and I try to go out only every few weeks, maybe of an evening if I can. But yeah,
That's great. There's a few different things going on in there. You're both trying to get a bit of a break by the sound of it.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
think we do forget about the person that we care for as well. They need that little bit of break away from us.
Yes.
Yes, and you're working it in to suit more than yourself. You've got your children. Do you find it difficult or challenging to try and take a bit of time for yourself? Like, do you feel you can allow time for yourself, or is that something you've overcome?
I do find that challenging. I think I've come to the realization that there's always going to be something to do, whether it's housework or there's just always going to be something to do. So even just to have just a short break, just even sitting outside for a little while, not just constantly doing housework or other work. But I can find that challenging because sometimes I think if I take self care time for myself, then all these things that I should be doing this morning, I'll just have to do it later in the day. So, um, but yeah, it is important to have that time out because as the saying I've often like is you can't fill from an empty cup. So
Yeah,
if you're completely strung out and stressed and overworked, then you're not really going to be good for anyone else. You're not even going to be good for yourself to do anything. So
yeah, that's great advice to give everybody. Has finding suitable respite care for your loved one been challenging in finding time for yourself? In other words, you've got to find, and you may not have to do this because it sounds like you've got a bit of a blend where you can go together, but finding that respite for the person that you care for so that you've got time for yourself. Was that ever a
um,
challenge?
um well, I guess it would have been probably initially when he had the accident, when his parents were looking after him, and he was paralyzed down the right side and was in a coma for a long time. So initially, before I met him, I'd imagine that would have been more of a challenge for his parents. But
Yeah.
now he's as long as I help pack and organise things, we tend to go together for a break. Dave's parents are very helpful, so sometimes if we can just make it, our closest relatives are about 2.5 hours away, but if we can make it there, then they give us both a break, really.
Yeah, that's good. And I guess for other carers that are new in this, there are some services that are out there that are able to support them if they haven't got that family close by. Um, what's your approach to finding a suitable place? And you probably answered it when you've mentioned family, considering affordability and distance. So how do you approach things like that?
Um, yeah, look, we do find it hard because, yeah, even though we do have relatives we can go to, that we don't have um, any close family in town. Um, so we do tend to, if it's school holidays, travel to Mudgee, which is about 2.5 hours away. We try to save up to even go away for 2 or 3 nights every few months or so. So I guess, yeah, even Airbnb, you can find some cheapish places there, depending on where you look. But yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Look, that's fine. That's probably all great. What I've noticed with everything you've said to me is that you do sound like you've got a deliberate plan, and the plan is to have respite. It's not always apart. It's usually together, and you do work with what you've got. If you've got your
Yeah, yeah,
in-laws that happen to love having you, and you love going there, and your kids love going there
yes,
as
they
well.
do.
Um, so I think that's the best advice that carers can give each other is to
Yeah.
try and work with what you've already got.
And I guess you did mention that there are places in town to take people for respite if I needed a break, and I think I have approached that to my husband, but he would just feel uncomfortable. He said, "Oh no, I'm not really into that," but he does have a games night once a week that he goes out to for
Yeah,
his respite. So he enjoys that, and yeah, so that
yeah,
works for us. But yeah, some other people, the person you care for, might be happy to go to somewhere for an evening or a few hours of the day.
that, that's right, Glenda. And we've all got different circumstances. So what you and I have talked about today may not suit another person, but hopefully they get some little tips out of it, which I think is do try and take a few minutes of your day to support yourself, even if it's just going outside and having a cup of tea, wandering
Yeah,
around the garden,
yeah.
or you enjoy to read a book and it could be a talking book. Just take time to support yourself. So thank you, Glenda, and
Thank you for that.
I'll talk to you again.